All right, good evening, dear colleagues that are joining us across the globe, because it has now become, let me call it global things now. We thought we are doing this within teachers in Ogun State. At initial stage, we even thought we would do this within teachers in selected teachers in Ogun State before, until it graduates to the Honorable Commissioner Directors to make sure that it cut across all teachers in Ogun State. We later find out that we got teachers joining us outside Ogun State, and I think that was during the inauguration day. We saw some teachers also joining us outside the country, and that is why we decided that okay, it's already a global thing now. That means every mathematics classroom deserves to have what we call mathematics clinic. And these are what we have been looking at for over 3 weeks now, on how we can have a designated place in all our school that we have what we call mathematics clinic, where our students can go and get attention. So tonight, we have lineup of our speakers tonight. We have the light of Dr. Tajudeen Odufeso in the room with us. We have Dr. Kehinde in the room with us. And we have the Executive Director of SITEC, Ifeoma Stella, Ifediba, also in the studio with us. And by God's grace, before the end of today, we're also having Spence joining us from Streetsboro High School, Ohio in US. So we want to, since we have Stella with us now, Pastor Dapo, let's just quickly, I'm sure Stella's presentation is not going to take long. Let's start with her. Then immediately after Stella, we have Dapo Kehinde to take over from her. So, Stella, please, can you put on your, let's see your face. All right, thank you very much. So that's the Executive Director of SITEC. That is Stella Ifediba. And she's going to start our presentation on what we call Sustainable Development Goals and Mathematics. Of course, this particular topic, I want us to take it, let's see it as one of the main things we are here to do. Of course, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which we have the expert in the building with us that will take us through those one, and we'll see the one that we can actually, that is in connection or that is connected with mathematics. So over to you, Stella.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dewe. I appreciate you so much for organizing this program. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Kehinde, Odufeso. Yes. I hope this session won't be long, like they actually said, even though it's a little bit long, but then we'll try to make it, summarize it as much as we could. We'll be going through a topic that is very important to everything we are doing, especially when we value integrating our programs, our teaching activities to the global standard. The Sustainable Development Goals is one of the key principles that will help us bring our mathematical ideas and principles to life. I'll quickly say this. As a student, it was very hard for me to handle mathematics because mathematics in Nigeria is filled with abstract concepts. It's hard for you to connect it to real life issues, and it makes it hard for students to make sense of what they are learning. And having studied SDGs as an advocate, and also as a strategist, I felt this is one opportunity we can tap into if we actually want to make sense of what we are teaching in our classrooms. It's also very important for most of us who want to take their teaching career to a global stage. I mean, SDGs is one of the things that bring everything together. I don't know how many of us have heard about SDGs. Have anyone heard of SDGs or SDG? Sustainable Development Goals or Education for Sustainable Development. Because today we'll be looking at integrating SDGs into science and mathematics in particular, even though this was prepared generally. So we're looking at integrating SDGs into mathematics curriculum, looking at teaching for real-world application and impact. So we are looking at SDGs, and if you have heard of SDGs, I want you to drop a comment there. What do you know about SDGs? If you have heard about it, you only heard about it, just drop it in the comments there. You've just heard about it. If you know something about it, just drop one thing you know about SDGs in the comment section. It's very important. Can I, Mr. Kayode, can you look at what they have in the comments? Have anyone heard of SDGs before now? I would like to know before I continue.
Yes, we've got a lot of response.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of response. People are saying yes, 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 ma'am.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So the third part of the question I'll ask before I continue is, have you solve any problem, any real life problem with your knowledge of mathematics before now, or within this week or last week or anytime as a mathematical teacher? Have you been able to solve any real life problem with mathematical knowledge or concept? If you have, just mention the problem you've been able to solve and mention the mathematical topic that connects to that. Did we get anything, Mr. Kayode? Any response? Any response so far? Have anyone thought of?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Abel Ayinla, we heard of it in a slow food community.
What topic was that and what problem was it connected to? Well, or were you able to solve with that math knowledge or concept? Are we still there? Is anyone responding? If not, we'll continue.
Yes, we have got response like adding price of good, modular arithmetic to solve market days calendar. That's from Ogunbowale Adeyemi.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So the reason behind this question is that every problem, both mathematical problem or any problem in connection to any subject we study, is originating from the society we live. So we can practically connect every topic we teach to issues that are happening in our society. We can actually connect any concept we are teaching to issues that are happening in the society. At any point when we cannot, it means that that thing we are teaching is irrelevant. So for us to make what we are teaching relevant, it's very important that we begin with understanding the fact that everything we teach in our classroom has connection to real life situation, and our ability to draw the knowledge that we share in the classroom to the real life application of what we teach makes it so easy for students to apply that knowledge in real life. And for us to talk about SDGs, we are talking about issues or problems in connection to our society. And having said that, I want to quickly go through what we want to achieve today. So today we are looking at, our objective is that by the end of this session, the participants should be able to explain SDG and Education for Sustainable Development, that is ESD. 2, connect mathematics topics to real life issues or applications. 3, connect SDGs to mathematics topics or lesson. And 4, at their own time, they'll be able to plan SDG focused lesson using the resources and the knowledge you've got from here. So we'll quickly look at what SDG or ESD is. So whenever we talk about sustainable development goal, we need to know that these are global goals and also known as the Agenda 2030. They are a set of 17 goals adopted by the United Nations or countries United Nations. Can you see my slide? I'm not sure I can view my slide.
Yes, your slide is on. Your slide is on. Your slide is on the screen.
Okay. So these are goals adopted by 193 United Nations countries in 2015 as a global blueprint or development plan to address major societal problems facing the world, like poverty, poor quality of education, health issues, peace, and so many other major problems that we are facing. Things like education and all that. So this, whenever we talk about SDGs, I want us to have it in mind that SDGs are just a set of problems that are articulated, global problems that we want to focus our energy, our policy, our decisions, and our actions in solving. They articulated it on that 17 goals to make it easier for people to assess and be able to work with. So it makes it easily measurable. We'll be able to check how far we've gone with whatever we are doing. However, ESD, which is Education for Sustainable Development, for most of us who want to apply for Multina teacher or who wants to apply for programs outside the country, it's very important for us to understand this too, the connection between Sustainable Development Goals and Education for Sustainable Development. So Education for Sustainable Development is just talking about that educational approach or teaching and learning approach that equips students with the ability to learn, develop new knowledge, skills, values, and disposition they need to enable them build a just, safe, and sustainable society. What does it mean to be for something to be sustainable? The idea of sustainability is just talking about the fact that what we do today has the potential of harming the society and depriving the next generation from benefiting from the nature of or from the gifts of the world or of the planet. Now, the idea is that whatever we do today should have the capacity or ability to equip us for success today and also make sure that the future generation is preserved or the society is preserved for the future generation. We are not meant to destroy our world. Like in one of our Igbo songs says, if you destroy this world, you will pay us for it. So the idea of sustainable development goal is for us to use these articulated goals to weigh what we are doing to see how potent or effective our decisions and our actions are and how it could be implemented to ensure that we don't harm the generation coming after us. So we have these 17 goals. ESD is just about applying innovative teaching principles and best practices to design, plan, and deliver SDG-focused lessons with the aim of empowering and inspiring learners to learn and solve the individual and societal problems which are easily highlighted under the 17 SDG. So the first job we need to do, is to first of all know what are the SDGs. Like Mr. Kayode said, we have the 17 SDGs. Yes, thank you for moving to that place. So we have 17 SDGs. We call it goals, 17 SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So goal 1 is talking about poverty, no poverty. Goal 2 is talking about zero hunger. Whatever we can do to make sure that there's zero hunger. Goal 3 is talking about good health and well-being. Goal 4 is talking about quality education, which is what is at the center of all that we do in every goal, because SDG 4 is seen as a tool for solving all other SDGs. So we are not just trying to solve the problem of education, we are solving it in such a way that it is capable to help us solve all other SDGs or achieve all other SDG goals. So we have goal 5, which is talking about gender equality, looking at the societal issues we are facing, how gender balanced is our society, how our people represented in different sectors of the society, starting from education in our classroom to societal leadership in the society, politics, and homes, and all that. So you look at 6th one is the clean water and sanitation, looking at the quality of water we drink and the availability of water we need for us to survive. Seeing water as one of the basic needs of man. Then 7 is talking about affordable and clean energy. Affordable and clean energy is looking at the power supply, electric power supply that we have. How affordable is it and how clean it is it? It's clean in the sense that when you talk about climate change and what happens, what is affecting the global warming that is affecting almost every countries of the world, you'll notice that one of the major causes is the emission of carbon, which happens because we rely so much on the use of fossil fuel. So the fossil fuel that is being used for cooking, that is being used for transportation, almost all our vehicles are using petroleum products or diesel. Our homes are powered by mainly generators because of the epileptic power supply. So we're looking at how harmful is it to the society? Is it healthy? So the fact that we want to use energy that is clean, because the major dangerous gas that is causing the climate change, according to research, is carbon dioxide, which is emitted by the use of fossil fuel and some other issues like waste, indiscriminate waste disposal, which causes emission of nitrous oxide and all that. But in connection to the goal 7, we are just looking at affordable and clean energy, making energy, source of energy, looking at renewable energy or green energy. How do we bring it into use and make it more accessible and affordable to people so as to reduce the emission of carbon in the society? Also look at the goal 8, which is decent work and economic growth. How decent is our work? Our working condition, is it okay? Are our youth equipped or empowered to be productive economically? How do we solve the problem of unemployment, underemployment, and unemployability? These are issues around goal 8. And let me stop here to say that the SDGs are 17, but has 169 targets in whole. So what it means is that if you look at goal 1, when you want to study goal 1, you look at different targets that the government and the people are expected to reach for them to achieve that goal. So there are clear set targets, which I will still share the link for you to be able to access it and see what are the targets under each goals, especially when you're trying to find connection between the goals and your subject topics. So we continue to goal 9, which is talking about infrastructure and innovation. So looking at the level of development we need in 21st century, we need not just infrastructural development, but innovative infrastructural development, taking into consideration again the fact that we need a green society, a society that is healthy and safe for people to live in and for the planet to survive. Then we look at goal 10, which is reduced inequality. Gender inequality and reduced inequality is almost like the same, but they are not actually the same. They're just closely related because gender inequality is just an aspect of inequality. So goal number 10 is looking at all the inequality issues, inequality in terms of status. We have people some people are extremely rich while some people are extremely poor. We look at some people cannot afford basic needs like education, while some people can pay for their children to study abroad. Now, how do we balance the access to basic needs to make it possible for people to have equal access to basic needs of life? That's what goal 10 is looking at. Then goal 11 is looking at sustainable cities and communities, just closely related to goal 9, but not exactly the same. We are looking at the cities. How do we build smart cities? If we are training young people of today, especially now that I'm talking to mathematics teachers who are people that train our engineers, as we are training them, we should also have it in mind that we're not training them to come back and do what other engineers have been doing. How smart would they be in their career? Determines what will determine how smart they will be in their career will be linked to how smart they were taught in the classroom, how much critical thinking they developed, and how much creativity they developed in the classroom for them to be able to apply the knowledge in an innovative way to build a sustainable society. Now look at goal 12, which is responsible consumption and production. Responsible consumption and production is looking at how we consume what we have produced and how we produce what we consume. So it's focusing on the business world, the manufacturing industry, and we, the consumers. How do we waste things? Are there ways we can reuse things instead of producing more when some people are dumping some in the, as non-biodegradables, which is polluting the environment? Are there ways we can also reduce our production in such a way that the industries that is emitting carbon through their production plants can reduce the quantity of goods that they are producing for it not to keep harming the environment? These and many more are under the goal 12. Now look at goal 13, which is the main issue, the climate action. Currently, climate action is one of the major SDG goals you hear about outside goal 1 and goal 5. Why? Because the world is focusing on how to save the planet. Because a lot of things are happening that people didn't notice, that is not just incidentals, but they are as a result of global warming, which leads to climate change. What do they mean by climate change? They're simply saying that the climatic condition that we have before now is changing to become unusual and unpredictable. For instance, you see the level of heat. The heat wave in Nigeria is high. You notice that some parts of this country, they're actually experiencing drought. Some of their river or the water bodies are drying up. Why? Because of the heat from global warming, which is affecting the climate. You notice that the rate of flooding is becoming too much. And sometimes we think it's just because of the poor construction of drainages. That is not only the problem, because you notice that even some developed countries are suffering from the same thing. Why do we have the flooding? Because of the global warming, which is affecting some of the cool area or cool parts of the earth, like the iceberg are melting. And when they melt into the ocean, making the ocean to overflow the riverbank and thereby causing flooding. And that is why some of the dams cannot hold water again. And they say they want to release the dam. For it to release water, we'll see Nigeria being flooded. So these are part of what the climate action is talking about. Climate action is also looking at the environmental pollution that we are facing, how it is affecting the climate and other living things on Earth's planet. So we'll quickly look at goal 14, which is life below water. Life below water is looking at how we can manage the water bodies in such a way that we don't pollute them and destroy the aquatic life around the place, or destroy the natural resources around the place. Similar with life on land. Life on land is just the opposite, focusing on the living things on Earth and how we can preserve them. conservative methods and all that. Then we look at goal 16. Goal 16 is just a bit quite confusing for so many people because of how they structure it. But goal 16 is what is looking at the society, the societal structure, the peace, justice, and strong institution. For some of us in social science, they will know that when we talk about strong institutions, we are looking at all those pillars that make up a society, that gives the society what it is. Like we look at institutions of government, like the law courts, we look at the judiciary as it is, we look at the arms of government, we look at the armed forces who are in charge of security and all that. All of them put together are under the strong institution. So the last one is partnership for the goal. The partnership for the goal is just emphasizing the fact that we need to work together if we must achieve the goal. Dr. Kehinde, I don't know if you can help me. I sent something on the WhatsApp. I sent the SDGs, the 17 SDGs on the WhatsApp, so you can share it with the participants in case they need to look at it directly from their own end. Then these are the 17 SDGs. And now the question is...
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, are you referring to your presentation?
No, on WhatsApp, on the committee WhatsApp group, I sent something, this SDGs, just in case there are people who don't know about it and need to just look at it closely.
Okay. Dr. Kehinde will help us to copy it and share with the participants. Okay,
all right.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so we quickly look at strategies for integrating SDGs into mathematics. SDGs almost like awkward to mathematicians, especially because of the concepts that we treat in mathematics. So I will share with you some of the tips that will help you integrate SDGs into mathematics. But before I go ahead, I want you to understand that integrating SDGs into mathematics doesn't mean that we need to create a different curriculum for mathematics. Rather, we need to update our curriculum in such a way that it can accommodate the SDGs and promote education for sustainable development. So what are the first things we need to do if you are actually interested in integrating SDGs and promoting ESD in your classroom? One thing you must do first of all is professional development and capacity building, which is what you're already doing now. Updating your professional knowledge and upscaling in terms of one, learning the 21st century teaching methods, student-centered educational approach and principles, learning strategies and techniques that you can apply in your classroom for it to boost the quality of teaching and learning. So once you know all these things, it is easier for you to integrate SDGs. And I'm sure with what Mr. Kayode, Dr. Kayode is doing already, you are fully loaded with a lot of ideas, concepts, principles, strategies, and methods of teaching that are 21st century driven and student-centered in nature. So the second part of capacity building is learning about each of the SDGs and their targets, starting with SDG 4, which is what connects all of us. No matter what subject you're teaching, SDG 4 is holding on to us to improve the quality of education, help to increase access to education, and also supports in balancing equal access between male and female gender in education. So learning about the SDG is very important, but if you don't know where to start with SDG 4. If you can, then you can boost and add up, learn more about every other SDGs. With the resources I sent to you, it is easier for you to just quickly look at the highlights of what each of the SDGs are about so that you'll be able to know which one connects to your subject topics. Now, tip number 2, after you must have upskilled or boost your capacity to be able to teach in an innovative way using student-centered method and knowing very well what SDGs is all about, the next thing you need to do is to shift from content delivery to competency building mindset. This is very important. Most times in our education system, we neglect issue of mindset and disposition or attitude. We focus on other things, knowledge. At most, we do skills. But no matter the amount of knowledge and skill you have, if you're not disposed, you can't really change anything. So your disposition to make a difference is very important to us. And what difference do we want you to make? We want you to bridge that gap between mathematics teaching as an abstract and the reality of mathematics in everyday world. So first, we want you to aim at going beyond knowledge acquisition in your class. Don't just set your objective to just, at the end of this lesson, let the students know this or know that. Beyond knowing, what can they achieve with the knowledge? So help students to construct new knowledge, build soft skills like critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, value-based learning tied to real-world issues. It's very important. Soft skills cannot easily be measured, but with SDGs, you can look at it and say, okay, with the improvement I'm seeing, you could use formative assessment to denote how far or how well you're doing in terms of that. So the second part of it is just like what I said before, aim at facilitating students to understand where and how to apply whatever they have learned from your class. Beyond the classroom, let them be able to make long-term impact. So tip number 3, understand and connect your lesson to real-life application beyond the classroom. How do we do that? This is very important in science subjects, especially mathematics and chemistry. One way to do it, technology has helped us a lot. I remember reading about a particular topic in chemistry online, and I was amazed with the fact that this is talking about real things, but all the while I thought they were abstract issues that they were discussing. I never knew that there are places you can find the elements and they are tangible. The 21 elements, you can touch them, you can feel them and all that. But the way we taught them in our school, we teach them as if they are things that are meaningless. We just raise equation and we begin to solve. So this tip number 3, understand and connect your lesson to real life application beyond the classroom. One way to do it is think. Think about the topic you're teaching. How does it connect to real life issues? If it's not so straight, because most of us, we are taught the same way we are teaching now. We are only trying to make a difference. We are only trying to make a change in what we usually know. So I'm sure that most of us are guilty of also teaching a lot of topics they don't understand how it can be applied in real life. It is not surprising to anyone if we discover that or if we take note of that. So you can use AI to make this faster. Some of you know how to use ChatGPT. And if you do know how to use ChatGPT, you can just simply go to ChatGPT before you plan any of your lesson. Just make your ChatGPT or some of other AI that you're using, whatever you prefer using, to be your companion. Use it to research on the topic you want to teach. Don't just move into the class and use your old lesson note you prepared since 1993 to enter the class to teach. Rather, review what you want to teach. Think, how does it connect? How will it be useful to these young people? What are the problems these children can use it to solve? So thinking is the first thing that you must do. And second thing is, with your thinking, I'm sure you'll be able to create or generate the right prompt to use on AI, because AI will not always give you answer that you're looking for if you don't create prompt that it needs to be able to give you what you are looking for. So use other sources also. Go online to find out how other people taught that same topic, especially outside Nigeria. Are there people that have been able to make these connections? What real life examples or issues were they able to connect this topic to? This is one of this, like, it's just like at the center of what we are doing today. So if you use like example of what I did, a sample prompt, you can just try the same prompts, either copy it and paste. I'm not sure I was able to share this prompt. But then if you can see it from here, you can just type in, if you can open your ChatGPT, type in, can you define and or explain any topic you have to this term. Think of any topic you have this term in your scheme of work. I checked, I used the ChatGPT to generate your SS1 mass scheme of work for Ogun State. This third term SS1 scheme of work. I think that's where I saw statistics and data handling as one of the major topic they have from week 1 to week 10 or week 7 or thereabouts. So just do a similar thing. You can do it now because I would like to get feedback what you saw from the post. So can you define and or explain whatever topic it is that you have in mind in connection to real life issues and day-to-day application? I think I made some mistake in the prompt anyway. With specific career or life, no, I think some things cut off from here when I was pasting it anyway. So what the question was can you define and or explain statistics and data handling in connection to real life issues and day-to-day application with specific career or with specific connection to career or real life in general using Nigerian context? If you want to maybe connecting to Ogun State or whatever, you can also do similar thing. So this help you to think and research with the system. The system will be like, I hope I'm still audible. Is anyone?
Yes, we can hear.
Go ahead, ma.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you. So you can try that. I don't know if anyone is trying that already. If any of us know how to use ChatGPT, just ask question about any topic you never thought of, the relationship or the connection it has to real life situation, and you'll be amazed at what you saw. Then with that knowledge of what you saw, it helps you to know how to link your topic to the SDGs, because our framework is that every SDG is about real life problem, and mathematics can be used to solve real life problems. So if we are able to understand the issues that are real life issues that are connected to each topic we teach, it makes it easier for us to understand the problem around that topic and know how to connect it to what we are teaching. That is the idea. So first, tip number 3 is to understand the real life connection or application of whatever we want to teach before we move ahead to connecting it to the SDGs, because it's what we discovered that will help us connect it to the SDGs. Now let's do this. Tip number 4 is to connect any 17 SDGs to your lesson. Now, before I continue with this connection, I want to explain that we have 3 main ways we can do the connection, connecting SDGs to our subject topics, or connecting it to subject concept or context, and then connecting SDGs to our teaching methods. So it's either you're trying to connect to SDG 4, which is quality education, finding a way to use mathematics to use innovative teaching method to improve the learning outcome in mathematics, or to make sure that you increase access, maybe using technology and all that, to increase access to disadvantaged students. However you connect it to teaching method is one approach. Another approach is to connect it directly to the topic that you are teaching, which may not easily be discovered. What I mean by connecting it to the topic is when you look at SDG 1, no poverty. Is there any topic in mathematics that could be connected to no poverty directly? Do you think there's any topic that you connects to SDG 1, goal 1, no poverty directly?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So thank you very much, Mrs. Stella.
Can
Can you
you
hear
hear
me?
me? Yes, I can hear
Yes, we
you.
can. Yes, we can hear you. So thank you very much. That's a wonderful presentation from Mrs.
No,
Stella.
we are
Okay,
not want to round up. We have not rounded up.
okay. Just help us to round up. Brian Spence is on the call here with us, and he has been here for over 30 minutes. Just
Oh,
continue, just conclude so that we can call him now. Yes.
okay. So I will get the feedback from the WhatsApp group. If because of time, I will move and get the feedback from the WhatsApp group. What you're able to connect. I also share the slide because of time, because we are complaining about time. So, but I'll quickly look at one example using Ogun State scheme of work, connecting the SDGs to what we are teaching in Ogun State directly, indirectly, and in terms of teaching method. One is the indirect one is looking at statistics and data handling. What you have in the scope there is collection, tabulation, and presentation of meaningful data, frequency distribution, construction of linear graph, bar charts, histogram, and pie charts. Now, SDG connection, it has connection to SDG Goal 4, and specifically Goal 4.1. That's the Goal 4 target 4.1. Now, the target 4.1 is talking about by 2030, ensure that all girls and boys complete free and equitable quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcome. Now, how can you connect this to your lesson? For anybody that has this topic this term, you can actually, first of all, you choose the teaching strategies and method and everything like we have said, and then pick the connection, the indirect connection, by exposing the students to use to participate in generating the data. Like one of the prof that spoke to us the other day said that in the mathematics clinic, you should also lead students to discovery. So let them generate this by real data they know about, either from your school or from your classroom or maybe from your community or local government. So they know where this data is coming from. They know that it's not just make believe. Now, with the data, you can use it now to teach them the frequency distribution and every other thing we have here, the pie chart, histogram, and all that. As they plot it, you will be able to help them make decisions, like understand why this is important. For instance, using this data to understand if you use like admission rate and the graduation rate in your school to work on this, you see that the student that entered in from JS1 could be compared to the student that graduated in their SS3. And the information can be compared with the number of girls or the number of boys that's actually participated, that actually graduated. This will help them this will inform the governments, for instance, or the school to know where to boost their effort. For instance, students that are living in communities where there is more teenage pregnancy, you will see that it's affecting the education of the girl child. The students that are in our own parts, like in Igbo land, where boys tend to leave the school because of business, you notice that you discover factors that affected their shift after their GS3, things like that. So I will quickly just go to the last thing I want to say, which is connecting to your teaching. Okay, I've mentioned that connecting to your teaching is just about 3 connections that you need to make there. Basic. There are other connections you can make. One is connecting to the use of student-centered teaching methods, strategies, and all that. Then 2 is integrating technology in such a way that it helps to improve learning outcome. The 3 is using formative assessment, gamification, and digital assessment tools. We listed most of them there. So maybe by the time you access the PowerPoint, you'll be able to get more details, because we are just trying to rush everything. So in essence, we may not have time for question and answer because of the next speaker waiting, but then I'll be waiting to receive your questions in the group. So in my conclusion, I just want to say as a reminder that it's not just what we teach, but how we teach that makes the difference. So In teaching mathematics, always teach for impact. Don't just teach for students to pass exams. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Join me to appreciate Mrs. Stella Ifediba, the Executive Director of SITEC Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for that wonderful presentation. Of course, my dear colleagues, she have rightly said something earlier. I could remember when I started applying for Multinational Teachers of the Year. My first year, when I saw the application, I saw, can you link up a topic with sustainable development goal? And it was like, what is the meaning of this? I don't know. What's my own? My own is just to teach mathematics. What's my business with SDG? And that year, I just do the application anyhow. Until I come across, later on, I now say, okay, let me even go and study more about sustainable development goal. And I actually have the opportunity to meet quite numbers of people talking about sustainable development goal. With my experience and every other thing there, the following year, I put in and I pick one of the sustainable development goal as related to mathematics as a subject. Although I did not win, and the following year after that, that was in the year 2022, and I take my time to study sustainable development goal, and I linked it up with mathematics, and lo and behold, I was called, and I emerged as Ogun State champion, and also emerged as one of the top 10, along with Mrs. Stella Ifediba that year. So meaning that one of the, aside from learning or relating sustainable development goal to what you are doing in the class, you also stand the chance of knowing more and relating this to what is operating in all the topics you are teaching in mathematics. Ladies and gentlemen, that was about Martina, linking it to Martina. But in year 2023, when I had the opportunity to get into one of the US classroom, I met a wonderful teacher who was one of the first teachers that actually demonstrate what it takes to apply some of these sustainable development goals into the teaching of mathematics, and that is Spence. And we have him tonight with us, and he's still going to do that kind of demonstration, how he used Bambi jumping, to gather primary data in the advanced placement statistics class. And I was wondering, and I'm sure he's going to do that with us tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate Mrs. Stella Ifediba for that wonderful presentation. And on that note, I want to welcome Spence, my partner teacher, when I was in US, is the head of mathematics at Streetsboro High School, Ohio, USA. Spence, can you hear me?
I can, thank you. Yes.
All right, so join me. You are doing two things. You are welcoming Spence into the class, and you are also going to help me to appreciate him, because what we call Mathematics Clinic today started as my experience at Streetsboro High School, and those things that I saw in the US classroom, and what are some of those things we feel like, oh, we can also do the same thing in Nigerian classroom. And here we are today. Spence, what started as a discussion on that day is now what is becoming a project here in Nigeria. Over to you.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed having you. I learned a lot of things from you too while you were in the United States. So, I do some of that as well, but I'm glad that you really liked all the things that we did. I'm going to talk about some of those activities today, including Barbie bungee jumping and rocket launches to help teach kids about quadratics. Did you get, I shared with you on Messenger there, my presentation. Would you be able to put that, screen share that?
Yes, just go to present. Once you present, I will see it and I'll bring up your presentation.
Okay. I think the only thing is with the device I'm using, I can't present from here. Are you able to present on your end and just share the link that I sent you?
Okay. Do you care to send the document to me?
Yeah, I sent it through Messenger. You should have it.
Oh, okay. You can continue with your presentation. Let me quickly go and get that and make sure I add that into the. You can continue with your own presentation.
Sure. So yeah, in the United States, the big thing is to get kids interested in math, because they're not always very interested or excited. And sometimes teachers just make it where they're just doing problems on the paper, and then they can't really see where it's going to lead them. They don't see that, there's a lot of great applications for math besides just, solving equations or doing, rote, mundane problems on the paper. So I try and make it more engaging where students can, see where math is used. They can apply it to different things, whether it's, through linear regression or with quadratics, make things more hands-on for the students so that they're able to relate it. And then when they see where it applies to them in real life, then it takes on more meaning for them, and they're more willing to, learn more about it, and they get more engaged with it. And kids walk away from my class saying that was fun, and that, I have kids that go on to be math majors or statistics majors because of the things that they learned and did in class. So the more things that we can make students understand how it works in the real world, then they're more willing to take on careers in mathematics or engineering or statistics and data. So that's a lot of what we try and do in terms of the math at Streetsboro High School. I'll talk about a little bit, and then I have pictures and some of the worksheets and activities of the things that we did. Where the first one is teaching linear regression, where students will collect data, and then they'll be able to make a model through linear regression, and we'll use something called Staplet, which is a site where they can, I'll put it in the chat here. Yeah, you can go to this page here, and let's see. Where they will be able to put in different statistical data that they collect, and then be able to graph it and analyze it in a much better way. And that's a pretty easy website to use. And I think you can use that pretty well to do all kinds of data collection for that. Let's see. Until Coyote's getting it set up. I mean, I can show. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah. So here, this probably looks backwards, doesn't it? Coyote, have you found the link yet? If not, we'll wait and see. I'll talk more about with Coyote in the United States. He spent a couple months with me. He would come in once a week to, come in and teach my students. My students really enjoyed learning about your culture and everything that Coyote presented, and did demonstrations and talked about math and taught them some cool things, and was able to hop in and teach the kids. And I think the kids were really receptive and meeting someone from a different country. And Coyote had a lot of great things that he had worked on and taught the kids, and some very cool math tricks. And the kids were really receptive, and I thought it was a great asset for us last school year when Coyote spent the time with us. Yeah, and then I know he's talked a lot about, you tried doing the rocket launching and all the other things in there, taking some of that back to Nigeria, and that's a really honored that Coyote would go through and take some of the lessons that we did together, and then continue to teach other students around the world with that. And then that was really neat that those lessons translated to everyone, just making math more hands-on, and seeing how it not only helps students in the United States, but also in Nigeria and other places. I had a teacher from Singapore this past year as well that was through the Fulbright scholarship, and it was the same kind of thing. I mean, it's very nice to be able to share activities with other teachers throughout the world, and do some of these same things. So it was very, very interesting. to see how other people and other cultures still enjoy the same kind of activities that we're doing in the United States right now. Let's see. All right, any luck, Coyote? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I can tell you a little bit about myself too as we're waiting for Coyote to get it. Did you get the presentation?
Yes, you get it now. You get it now. Someone is going to do the presentation. I've shared the document with them. Then also the participant already have this with them on their, they already have it on their platform as well.
Okay.
Okay, it's up now. Can you check it? It's up now.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Okay, great. So this is one of the first, this is the activity that Coyote talked about that I think we did like your first day that you came to the United States. And the first day that we were together, we did Barbie bungee jumping. So, you know, we took the little doll Barbie, and the goal is to drop her off of the bleachers with a rubber band bungee cord. But we need to figure out how many rubber bands we need to be able to have her get as close to the ground as possible without actually hitting. So what we did, and you can go to the next slide, slide 3 there. You'll see pictures of the students were measuring how far that they dropped Barbie from one rubber band, with 2 rubber bands, and 3, and so on. And they would take measurements, and then they would take that data and put that into that Staplet website that I shared. And then they would come up with the linear regression equation. Yep, yeah, you can go to that one. So we would fill in that data there, and you can see the kids there are dropping Barbie down and then measuring how far she would drop with each number of rubber bands. So then you can go to the next slide. Slide number 4, please. Here we go, slide 4. Well, on slide 4, then you'll see the graph that was made with the scatter plot and the line, and then the students would use that data to then figure out how many rubber bands they would need to drop her from bleachers that were 20 feet high. And usually would have pretty good success in terms of how, you know, getting Barbie very close to the ground without actually hitting the ground. So the students found that using linear regression would help them make predictions about how many rubber bands they would need to hit the ground. So that was Barbie bungee jumping. Let's see. All right, so then we can go to the next one. Let's see.
Please, next slide.
Next slide. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And then if you click, you can maybe see the video if you click the little play button on there to the right. Let's see. Or if not. Or, Katie, I also have, do you see there's another screen of mine up that is on, I have another screen for my computer that I can present, and I'm presenting on my computer screen. Do you see another one of me in your chats? because you can, if you pull that up, I'm presenting on my computer screen from home. Let's see that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I'm presenting that way. But yeah, so now you can see we drop the Barbie and we see how close we can get her to the ground. And that's the activity that we did then to see with the number of rubber bands dropping down. Using linear regression, the kids were able to make that prediction there. Okay. All right, so then with linear regression as well, we also did an activity to see how many starbursts, little candies that students could pick up with their hands based on their hand dimension, how big their hand was. So students would measure their hand span from their thumb to their pinky, and then we would also go and see how many candies they could pick up. So they'd measure their hand right here, and then they'd reach into the bag and see how many starbursts they would pick up. So this way we would see if there's any kind of relationship between the size of your hand and how many starbursts you can pick up from the bag. So then we would graph all of the students' data, and we were able to make a scatter plot and a regression line as well. And that got us into talking about what the y-intercept means, what the slope means. We looked at the correlation coefficient, the coefficient determination, the standard deviation of residuals. So we were able to look at all of those things and learn about those things with the data that we collected. So we were able to use that, and that was very meaningful for the kids because it was their data, and each one of them was represented by a point on here. So we could talk about how each individual student did and then compare them to the overall graph as well. So again, that's just making the data more meaningful. This one, Coyote was here for this, is when we launched rockets to straight up in the air, and we use this vertical motion. Yeah. So this one we would shoot off the rockets into the air with an air compressor. They would record how long the rocket was in the air. So it went straight up and straight down. And then we would use that to make a quadratic equation here, using a gravity as a constant. And then we would come up with that vertical motion equation, and then they would graph it and see that it would make a parabola. And we'd be able to figure out how high the rocket actually went up in the air, based on how long it took to go all the way up and come all the way down. So we're able to do that. So you can see here we're on our football field. And then we'll play a little video. Yeah, so we'd shoot those paper rockets up, they would come back down, and then using just those times, we would make the quadratic equation and calculate the height. The kids, again, all really loved that. They would, launch the rockets and time it. So again, it's making that data and math meaningful to them because they were a part of it. Another activity we did was to teach students about exponential growth. We used the idea of a virus and how it spreads. Since it was very relevant at the time when I first did this, we talked about COVID-19, and we talked about how when a virus spreads, it can spread exponentially because of how it will infect one person, who might infect two, who will infect 4 people, and so on. So we used this and used M&Ms to model this, where kids would start with 2 M&Ms in a cup, and they would dump them out. And if the little M was showing up, that meant that someone else was infected. So we added somebody else to the population of infected people, and we would continue to do that until we ran out of M&Ms. And then, so here's the data here, and we can see that it made an exponential growth equation here in a graph. Just plotting out that data, they saw that the cases of COVID were growing exponentially here. So then see, we have the kids pouring out the M&Ms, and then any of them that had an M face up were the ones that became infected and continued to infect the population. So again, that was a nice way to show them about exponential growth. And then another one, and we actually just did this today, to talk about trigonometry, using triangles to find the missing heights with the angles and distances, using sine, cosine, and tangent. This was a problem that they had where, we need to define the height of this geyser here. So we measured, this was just an example. We'll take the kids outside in a second, but this is where we found the angle and the distance, and we were able to use trigonometry to solve that. So we did the same thing ourselves, where we would go outside using a clinometer, which measures the angle of elevation. And then we could go and find how far away we were from the object, the angle of elevation, how tall the student was, and we could calculate all of that to figure out the height of the object. So here is just a pretty simple design. You just take a protractor, put a straw on top that students would look through. There's a string and a weight. And then as the students start to look up, that string will go back, and that will tell us the angle that they're looking up at. So you can see here, students are looking up at the field goal post, and then they would get the angle. They would measure how far away they were from the object there, and then we would use a tangent calculation to calculate that. So here's a couple examples of the students' work here of the different things that we would find: the distance away, the angle of elevation, how tall the students were. They'd make a little drawing and then do their calculations to find the overall height of the flagpole. Or we had a big cell phone tower that we also did the same thing and measured all of that. So we'd take the kids outside to find the heights of just different things that were too tall for us to actually measure, but using trigonometry, we could actually still calculate out those heights. So those are just some examples that I had of some hands-on STEM activities that we use in the classroom to help make math more meaningful and engaging with students. So they get excited about it, and then it helps them, I think, when we go back in the classroom and do more of the calculations, because it's more meaningful in the long run of that.
All right, thank you very much, Spence.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always an
That's a wonderful presentation. So, dear colleagues, can you join me to appreciate Rion Spence for this wonderful presentation? And of course, I think I'm so glad that I have him here this evening to confirm all those things I used to tell you at the beginnings of our virtual classes, that as a teacher, we need to look for add-on activity. We need to look for real-world examples in all our classes, especially in topics. And thank God Stella was able to tell us more about how far we can go to look for those topics that are also related to sustainable development goals. And of course, there's no way you use this kind of a thing and this will not stick into the brain of the student for the rest of their life. Like I always tell people, I say one of those topics that I understand why I was growing up when I was in secondary school is photosynthesis. And I think that was because my biology teacher back then in my secondary school was able to use, some of those hand-on activities and experiment, allowing us to carry out the experiment on the photosynthesis process. So ditto to us too, I really want to appreciate Spence, because all the experience I gather under him as my partner teachers in US are some of those things I come back into Nigerian classroom and started implementing. This time around, if I'm teaching my students statistics, I want to work on central tendency. There is no point for me to be looking for existing data. I can just started asking them, oh, can you tell me your age? And they will started telling me your age. Your age is, how old are you? 15. Next, 16, next, 17, and I will tell them I'm using your age to find the average age of the student in the class. And when the examination comes, there is no way, because I make sure that I use real life example, and this will make this thing to stick into their brain. If you leave asking of their age, you can go ahead asking of the sizes of their shoes. and start asking them to give you a real data that you can use to collate and start working with those data. Not that you'll be using what is it called, secondary data. Or you do like what Spence did, take them out, ask them to do a kind of what is it called, dropping and measuring the height, the depth, how deep the measuring could be. And you gather all this together and do a lot of calculation around this, and you will see that the student will be very, very happy in doing this with you. And those are some of those things we can do in all our mathematics clinic classes. You can go out and do hands-on activity, then come back into the classroom, come back into the maths clinic and gather the data and work with the real data you gather on the field. And this will definitely make the student it will make them to have more interest in mathematics. So thank you very much, Spence. I don't know if you have any question for Leon Spence. He's still much around. We also want to appreciate him. I think right over there now in US, in Ohio, I think this is just some minutes past 3, if I'm right, 3 p.m. And he just have to, do one or two things to take his to continue his own work too as a math teacher over there. We really appreciate you, and we hope and we believe by the time we'll have the in-person training, you also be available to join us for the final program that will take place in what is it called, Abeokuta Windows on America here in Ogun State. You also join us live. We are looking forward to see one of these days to have you in Nigeria, and I'm sure you'll be very happy to come to Nigeria to see some of these amazing math teachers we have in the country and the wonderful things they are doing here in Nigerian classroom. We're also putting in all our best. We are trying all our best here as a teacher. We are managing all the resources we have here. We have been trying to do a lot of improvisation in make sure that these students, have a better learning outcome in mathematics. And I know together with people like you, we'll definitely raise the next generation of students that will show the world that mathematics is truly the universal language. Thank you very much, Spen.
Right.
We really appreciate. Thank you very much. You can still, So, dear colleagues, if you have any question for Spence, if you have question for Stella, Stella is still very much here with us. Let's drop our questions on the comment section. I will also try to make sure, Spence, I'll make sure I will organize also another section where we can also have a one-on-one interaction with you, aside from this one we are doing now. And I'm sure my colleagues here will be glad to be having you time to time, sharing your experience with us as a math teacher. Thank you very much once again.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. So lastly, thank you. So lastly, we have, of course, I'm sure I've introduced Stella to you. Stella is also a Fulbright scholar. All right, yes. Also, of course, we are now on the final presentation for today, which will be taken by the overall best teachers in Ogun State in the year 2021, and also the first runner-up of the Martina Teachers of the Year 2024. That is Dakpo Kehinde, who will be going on with his presentation on the mentoring and other things that we can do in our mathematics clinic. Over to you, Mr. Dakpo Kehinde.
All right. Good evening, Doctor. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Yes, evening. I can hear you, sir.
All right. Can you see my screen also?
Yes, we can see your screen as well.
All right. Firstly, I want to congratulate you, Doctor, for this initiative. I equally want to salute Mrs. Stella for that wonderful presentation on SDG. And at the same time, Ryan Spence for that wonderful session on teaching mathematics with practical, innovative ways in our classroom. Quickly, without wasting our time, because our time has been fast spent, I quickly want to talk on the role of mentoring and peer collaboration in sustaining STEM Hub. Now, right from the start of this initiative it has been collaboration, it has been mentoring. So what we're just trying to look at during this session is for us to see the reason why we need to embrace mentoring, and at the same time why we need to embrace peer collaboration. But before I move on, I would have loved to ask us, what do we really understand by STEM up? What do we understand by STEM up? But we can just put our response on the chat box. But to save our time, I will quickly say that when we're talking about STEM up, we're talking about a dedicated space that can either be physical or virtual that promotes learning, innovation, and collaboration in STEM. And what we mean by STEM, we mean science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So a STEM hub is a dedicated space that brings students together, teachers, professionals to engage in hands-on activity, mentorship, and then problem solving. And if I may ask us to give me one example of a STEM hub, it has to do with the mathematics clinic that brings all of us together on this call this evening. The mathematics clinic we're talking about is not just a word in the theoretical sense of it. We're talking about something that is real. We're talking about something that is physical. And the essence of this mathematics clinic, which is one example of a STEM hub, is to promote learning, and not just learning, innovation, and collaboration. So why is STEM hub essential, or why are we even talking about this mathematics clinic? I want us to have it at the back of our mind that STEM hub, they are central to driving innovation and hands-on learning. Thank Ryan Spence for all the initiatives that he has introduced to us, which I want to believe that we'll start putting into practice. So what STEM hub does is that it acts as a driving force towards innovation and hands-on learning. And then again, if you look at the topic I am actually talking on this evening, is talking about sustainability. It's not just about having mathematics clinic in our school. It's not just about having STEM hubs in our school. It's about how can we sustain it. We've been together for the past 3 weeks now. How can we sustain this collaboration? And you will agree with me that in this climate, in this part of the world, sustainability has always been a problem. We find it difficult to sustain, some of our good innovation, some of our good legacy, and one way or the other, it's even affecting our education ecosystem. So, as mathematics teacher, having the opportunity of having this mathematics clinic in our school, there is need for us to ensure its sustainability. And one way we can sustain this mathematics clinic in our school has to do with mentoring and then peer collaboration. So briefly, I will be talking to us on what mentoring is all about and what peer collaboration is all about, how we can embrace mentorship, and also how we can leverage on peer collaboration. So let's look at mentoring. What is mentoring in the real sense of it? Mentoring is all about guidance. It's all about skill development. Like what we are doing now, Dr. Kayode Adewale, I want to give it, to him. He's mentored a whole lot of us, even including my humble self, regarding very many things when it comes to education. For example, very many of the awards that I have received in this course of teaching and learning has to do with the mentoring of our dear Dr. Kayode Adewale. So in sustaining our STEM hub, in sustaining this mathematics clinic that in no distant time will be landing in our school, there is need for us to embrace professional relationship, not just relationship now, relationship with people of like mind, teachers of like mind. And the essence of this is for us to ensure that there is, corporate guidance and at the same time skill development. And then when we're talking about collaboration, we're talking about colleagues or learners, sharing knowledge and solving problem together. And these two key concepts, they are essential to sustaining the mathematics clinic that will be coming to our school in no distant time. Why is sustainability matter? Why does it matter when it comes to STEM Hub? Permit me to streamline the word STEM up to our mathematics clinic. But that's actually the reason why we are on this call. Why do we need to sustain this mathematics, clinic? You will agree with me that in public service system, there is room for transfer. For example, Dr. Adewale started, from water side one way or the other. He find himself in Odua. At some point in time, he find himself in one remote school, and then now he's in the university, sector. But I could remember vividly that when he was at Odua Comprehensive High School, he built a computer hub there when he won the Ogun State Best Teacher Senior category in the year 2020. But then the question now is, what he has built there, those that are there or those that came in after him, is there any sustainability? Was that hub still in use? So it's not just for us getting those hubs into our school. It's not just for us having mathematics clinic in our school. There is need for us to ensure its sustainability. And when we ensure sustainability, three things, is crucial here. Why we need to ensure its sustainability. Number one is that it ensures long-term impact and continuity of STEM program. One way or the other, one day we will leave the stage. Whatever we are learning now need to get down to those that are coming after us. So when we ensure sustainability of this mathematics clinic, then there is guaranteed, of continuity. There is guaranteed of long-term impact on our learners and even on our students. And not just only that, when we ensure its sustainability, we maintain the momentum after whosoever donate those all to us. And then it's also encourage institutional ownership and then scalability. So what are the roles of mentorship in sustaining STEM Hub? Permit me to go back to the meaning of mentor. Like I said earlier, mentorship is all about professional relationship for guidance. As teachers in this 21st century, there is need for us to have a mentor. A mentor may not necessarily be somebody that is even higher than us in terms of level or in terms of degree. A mentor can even be somebody that we're on the same level. But then, what are the role of mentorship in sustaining STEM Hub? Number one, knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer. So by the time we embrace mentorship, there will be transfer of knowledge. Somebody that is already a trainer can groom new trainer. Confidence is built. That is, we help students to overcome STEM anxiety, and at the same time, leadership is developed. So by the time we embrace mentorship, one way or the other, knowledge is transferred from a mentor to the mentee. Then our confidence is built, and then there is leadership development. Then quickly, let me talk about role of peer collaboration. Peer collaboration in sustaining our STEM Hub. When we collaborate, we share resources together. Once we get all this over, we don't want us to limit ourselves to our school. Let's collaborate. By now, I'm sure that Doctor is working on creating a closed group, for all of us, that we can share idea. We can even, organize projects together. We can organize competition among schools that has, all these mathematics clinic with them. It's not that once we get the hub, and we'll now say, no, this one is from my school. I don't need to relate with, the other hubs. No, peer collaboration is essential because nobody is an island of knowledge. Then let me quickly give us a practical example. Yeah, I wish doctor can equally testify. Example of collaboration. For example, we have a professional body here in Ijebu, we call SITEC and Ijebu Blood. That's Computer Teacher Association of Nigeria, Ogun State. I want to believe all of us or some of us belongs to MAN. So these are examples of peer collaboration. So teachers collaborating on training and competition, peer mentoring, promote digital skill and sustain projects. So I'm looking forward to a time that even all of us that will be beneficiary of this hub, we can come together to form a synergy. We can even organize training for ourselves. We can organize competition for our students, that are benefiting from this hub. So what are the strategies for strengthening mentorship and then peer collaboration? How can we strengthen mentorship and then peer collaboration? I have about 4 of them here. One of it is for us to establish a mentorship program for students and teachers. But let me center on students. So once we have our student coming to the mass clinic, we can establish a mentorship program for them. Then at the same time, we can create online community. Thank God, doctor has really done justice to that in our previous call. So we can create a WhatsApp, a Facebook, a community, of like-minded students or teacher. From there, we begin to, promote our partnership, and then we even encourage teacher to teacher coaching. So these are some of the strategies that we can use, to strengthen mentorship and then peer collaboration. What are the impacts? So when we give room for mentorship and we give room for collaboration, just like one of our distinguished educators used to say, collaboration is better than competition. So we are not competing with anybody. All we are saying is that for us to ensure that all this mathematics clinic, are sustained, then there is need for us to embrace mentorship and then to collaborate. So what this does on our students is that it improved their academic performance. It improves their academic performance. Then they develop greater interest in STEM careers, and at the same time, it increases their innovation and problem solving skill. Now, one thing I quickly want to center here is that once we get this mathematics clinic in our school, if we decided to just sit back and say, okay, they've given us this mathematics clinic, let me just limit myself to my school, I want to assure you before you know it, the mathematics clinic will die. So for us to sustain this mathematics clinic that is coming to our school, we need to collaborate with one another. So when we collaborate with one another, then, the curiosity will be there, the enthusiasm will be there. And as a result of that, our students will enjoy improved academic performance. They will show greater interest in STEM career and also increase their innovation and problem solving skills. So what are the impact on teachers? Of course, there will be professional growth and collaboration culture, higher retention of STEM program, then recognition and award, will definitely come in. So in conclusion, mentorship and peer collaboration, they're not just optional. They are pillars of sustainability. And that is what I'm concerned about. Not just having this hub. How can we sustain, this hub? For us to sustain this hub as teachers, mathematics teachers, we need to give ourselves to mentoring. And not just mentoring, we ourselves should be mentors to our fellow mathematics teachers, those that are not with us, and not just our fellow mathematics teacher, to our students that will be making use of this hub. They need to see us as mentor, somebody that they can learn from, and also they themselves in the nearest future, they become mentors, to others. And at the same time, like I've said, there is need for us to collaborate together. A community-driven approach can future-proof STEM hub across Nigeria. So let us mentor, let's collaborate, and let's grow together. So these are my message to all of us that are on this call, that it is high time for us to collaborate together. It is high time for us to grow together, and it is high time for us to have a mentor and also to be a mentor to our students and other, mathematics teachers around us. So once again, I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Adewale for this initiative. You've been a mentor right from the time I've known you. You've, embraced collaboration right from the time I've known you. And I equally want to thank you for everything that you've done. I'm hoping that Mathematics Clinic, by the time it's launched in our
Wow, so sorry, so sorry, so sorry, so sorry. I think we have some little challenges from the hand of the presenter. We are so sorry. Please, if you can hear my own voice, can you just say yes in the comments? If you can hear my voice, can you say yes? If you can hear my voice, can you say yes? Okay, it's back now. Mr. Lapo, you are back?
Yes, I'm done already, sir, doctor.
All right, so thank you very much, dear participants. And I think I had Pastor Dapo when he was talking about mentoring and also what you can do to sustain what is it called? STEM up. Of course, when you want to use all these things we are talking about, because these are new initiatives. Yes, thank you, Ms. Ogunbowale. Mentor, collaboration, and grow together is the key to sustainability. Of course, you would need each other, and that is what technology can do. And that's the essence why we created the Google Classroom for us, so that we can use the Google Classroom to collaborate with ourselves. If there is a particular topic, and let's also appreciate the Ogun State government, at least for giving us an enabling environment, even for automating all the schools we have in Ogun State, is also another way to sustain the good things, all the good initiatives that have been happening in Ogun State. Of course, as I'm here now, I now know what I'll be doing next time. I know what I'll be doing on Monday is welcome test. From welcome test, I know the next topic, and all of us will be on the same page. So this talk to the Mathematics Clinic too, we also need to collaborate with ourselves. We need to work hand in hand with ourselves. If you need me in your classroom, I can come into your classroom. If Mr. Dapo need me in his classroom, he can come to my own classroom as well. And that is where the collaboration can work. And in terms of mentoring, of course, we also have, for those of us now, we met some people in the profession who have been a great mentor to us, who have been an inspiration to us. They are those set of people that have mentored us to the level that we are now. So don't let us rule out mentoring in anything we are doing. And that is why we bring in an expert who has mentored many teachers, who has also been enjoying, mentoring as well, to talk to us on that. And of course, when we're talking about sustaining that particular hub, that mathematics clinic, the items you win for your school, the guide that you win for your school, you are not going to stay in that school for the rest of your life or for the rest of your time in the service. You will definitely get transferred to another place. Peradventure, you are transferred to a school that have never established a mathematics clinic. You don't have to go to the next school with all the maths guide. Leave it in your present school. Make sure you mentor another person, that can sustain that particular place, so that history will not forget you to that, oh, before this man leave this place, he was able to do this and this and this and this and that for us. And that is what we mean by sustaining that STEM up. And also, in addition to all what our presenter have said tonight, thank you very much, Mr. Dapo Kehinde. We really appreciate you, and we pray the Almighty God will continue to help you. He will continue to strengthen you and continue to give you more success. Of course, all of us were available. Dapo Kehinde is available. Tajudeen Odufe is available. Kayode Adewale is available. Stella is available. As many people as possible. And that is why when you see, when I post those things on Facebook, I tag those facilitators so that you can also, have one-on-one interaction with them. You don't need to rely on the mentorship you receive from teachers in Ogun State alone. Collaborate with other teachers from international level. And also, you can also collaborate with their students. Let their students meet your own student. I know in one way or the other, while I was a teacher at Odua Comprehensive High School, I've linked up the students with over 10 countries, students from 10 countries. Ditto to my present school, Imagbo Imaka. So, and that is how we can actually expose those children. Those are those ways you can allow them to see the values in the collaboration. As well, don't forget, you can also do that among the students as well. So once again, we really want to appreciate you. And as we have promised, we are going to leave the studio exactly 10 p.m. tonight. We are not exceeding 10 p.m. So let us be around. We know we have spent a lot. And we pray the Almighty God will replenish our pockets for all the money that we have spent. We understand the situation of things in the country, but of course, we can't rule out doing this kind of a thing to support ourselves as a teacher. So tomorrow, by God's grace, we'll be having my own mentor. I don't know, maybe it's your own mentor, Olaleko Adeko, the co-founder of Tech Prime Hub. His accolades is very many. If I said I should start counting it, presently is the Microsoft MVP, most valuable person by Microsoft. And like I said, he's going to use that knowledge he gained from US just of recent with us. So we should be looking forward to receive him tomorrow by 8 p.m. as well as we'll also be having another person that will be talking to us again tomorrow. That's Dr. Amos Tafa. Dr. Amos Tafa is the founder and CEO, Learning Institute for Excellence, Texas, USA. We'll also be having another facilitator that will be joining us from US tomorrow. He's a mathematics class STEM curriculum writer. He's a diagnostic and nuclear medicine. He's a medical pharmacist. And he'll be talking to us on using AI to accelerate mathematics mastering and independent learning. So let's also be on ground tomorrow to meet these two facilitators and also to enjoy and learn from their wealth of experience. Of course, tomorrow, we missed Dr. Abimbola yesterday. He promised to join us tomorrow as well. So we'll see how we manage our time to also hear about that musicotherapist man, the man that have used music to teach mathematics. Why I'm using Ijebu to teach mathematics, we also have another young man who is also using music to teach mathematics, and is also son of the soil. Is a PhD holder in mathematics, and his areas of interest is musicotherapy in mathematics. So tomorrow we meet all of them. Until we see tomorrow, I want to say thank you all for joining us this evening, and we hope to see all of you tomorrow. So don't worry about attendance. We'll take our attendance tomorrow, and by God's grace, next week we'll be taking our final examination on all our presentation. And don't forget the deal. The deal is that only the best will be selected for the in-person training. Of course, don't forget, those people that join us will definitely get their material. Your material will get to you in one way or the other. So see you same time tomorrow by God's grace. Good night, everyone.